This is our first episode of Under the Influence. I could not be more excited. And to open us up, we have Congresswoman Sara Jacobs. I spelled her name right.
You did. I'm very impressed.
Congresswoman, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I mean, it's kind of a big leap of faith. There's this guy on social media doing this new show. Will you do it and be our guinea pig? And she said yes. So thank you so much
You're
for that.
so welcome. I'm excited.
I am also excited. So part of what we're going to do here is get to know you.
Okay.
So for the first little bit of this, I'm going to drop the Congresswoman.
Yeah.
And you be Sara.
Okay.
And I'll be Jolly.
Yeah.
And we have our bourbon.
We have our bourbon. Cheers.
Oh, nice. Cheers. I have a nice little Under the Influence logo on my glass.
I have House of Representatives.
I'm not that cool. Where I'm from, it's a big deal to just sit down and have a drink and ask questions. It's like, we see Congress people in front of cameras all the time, blah, 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 with the big fancy words and stuff that we don't understand. But who are you, right? And I think part of trusting our representatives is knowing who.
Absolutely.
And so to that end,
okay,
I have some games we're going to play.
Okay.
Now, these games are also drinking games. So I'll tell you the rules as we go along. The first game we're going to play, it's called Two Jollies and a Lie. Okay. Now, the way this works is I'm going to tell you 3 things about me. 2 of them are true, and 1 of them is a lie.
Okay.
Okay. And you pick out the lie. Now, obviously, you don't know anything about me. That's what makes this exciting.
And then do I drink if I get it right or wrong? Like, am I rewarded for getting it right? This is what my thing with drinking games. I'm like, but if I get the ball in, I don't get to drink.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So am I drinking if I get it right or wrong?
This is your office, your rules.
But I think I drink if I get it right.
Okay. So if you get it right, then you drink. If you get it wrong, I drink. So,
yeah. Okay.
I mean, you're right. The point of a drinking game is to freaking drink. I've never understood how the winner is the sober.
Exactly. This is my point. Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
We are 100%. Okay, so let's start off.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
2 Jollies and a Lie. Number 1. I speak fluent Korean.
Okay.
I speak Mandarin.
Okay.
I speak Japanese.
I think the lie is that you speak Korean.
And the answer is, if you've been following me a long time, you know the answer already. Let's see if the chat gets it right. Tell me if the chat gets the right answer. For the record, the Congresswoman's wrong.
Oh.
For the record, the Congresswoman's wrong. I messed up myself.
It's okay.
Do they get it?
Saying Japanese.
Japanese is the correct answer. That's the lie. Okay?
Yeah.
So I've been a Korean linguist now for 24 years.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I used to debrief North Korean defectors. That was a job I did for a long time. I lived in Korea for a very long time. And I do speak Mandarin as well. Not as well as Korean, but Mandarin, and I don't speak Japanese.
Okay.
Which leads to the question, do you speak any foreign languages?
That is an excellent question. So I grew up in San Diego, so I'm fluent in Spanglish.
Okay.
But I took French in school, in high school and college, and then I worked overseas in some like Francophone places in Africa and stuff. So my French was very good for a while, and then I started really trying to learn Spanish, and now I speak neither French nor Spanish.
So it's the whole loop to get back to notes.
Correct.
So you did have interest in foreign languages, though.
Yeah. I worked at the State Department and the UN, and so like at the UN, you have to do everything in English, French, and I used to be able to get by in Hebrew and a little bit of Arabic too. So I know, like, I dabble.
Yeah,
I dabble.
That's kind of like me. I speak conversational Arabic. I mean, if you drop me in an Arabic-speaking country, I could do it. And I speak a pretty decent amount of Spanish. I just don't claim them because I don't speak them well enough. I went to school for Korean, got a degree in Korean studies, went to school for Chinese, Mandarin specifically, got a degree in Chinese studies. So I feel comfortable saying I speak those. 2 Jollies and a Lie, number 2.
Okay.
All right. Let me reward you.
Okay, cheers.
Even though you got it wrong, I mean, we have to drink something.
Yeah.
And that is really good bourbon.
Thank you.
All right, number 2. I play the guitar. I can juggle. I'm a power lifter.
Is it mean to say I don't think you're a power lifter?
No, it's not mean to say anything.
Okay, I think you can't juggle.
Okay, I can't juggle. Okay, does the chat know? Did the chat get it right? The Congresswoman's wrong again.
Oh, no. This is like, I was like a straight A student, so this hurts.
This hurts, right?
This
Like,
hurts.
well, the beauty of it is when you don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
That's why it's fun.
They're saying Palo Alto.
They're saying Power to Power is the correct answer.
Oh,
My
I should have
chat knows
gone with
me.
my gut.
You should have gone with your gut. My chat knows me so well. So it's kind of funny. I'm like, I can juggle actually. I was going to bring 3 little juggling balls because all my kids are learning now. So I have like little practice juggling lists. And I didn't bring an idiot. Which the question then comes, what's your hidden talent? Like, what's your thing? When I say
Yeah.
hidden talent, like, what's your
Okay.
thing when you tell people they're like, no fucking way?
That's a good question. Well, I just came from a pickleball tournament, so I'm pretty good at pickleball.
Dude, pickleball has taken the world by fucking
Yeah.
storm.
I was an early adopter. My mom, I played pickleball in 2020 because it was like a way to see my parents outside during COVID where we were distanced. So I've been playing since
Interesting.
2020. Yeah.
I honestly didn't know pickleball existed in 2020.
See, there you go. Early adopter. I'm trying to think what other
Like, what's the secret fact that people don't really know shit?
I've been to 100 countries, over
Holy
100 countries.
crap.
Yeah, I'm at 10. Well, it depends how you count things. It gets a little dicey, but we say 100.
Been to them or visited each one of them? What's
Yeah,
the
so the
caveat?
rule is you have to leave the airport.
Good rule. I like that. Okay.
So like
you've
I've
left
been
the
to
airport.
more airports, but you have to leave the airport and then count.
I like that rule.
Yeah.
Most interesting country then out of those 100. That's what I know.
That's
No offense
tough.
to the other 99
I
countries.
know, it's hard. Okay, I went to Mauritania when I was working at a nonprofit mapping and connecting schools around the world to the internet. And Mauritania is cool because like tourists don't often go to
I
Mauritania.
couldn't even find Mauritania on a map right
Yeah.
now.
It's in Northwest Africa.
Okay.
And it has all these really old mosques from like when it was part of the gold and salt trade back in the day.
hmm
And so I got to see this like really, really old mosque with like no one around.
That is
Cool.
super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like a touristy spot where tourists don't know about.
Yeah, it's like not the most safe. It's very it borders Mali, so
Uh-huh.
like the State Department has some travel advisories against it.
Got it.
But yeah, I went to an actual oasis. Like we were in the desert, and then there was an oasis, and I ate
That's
dates like
dope.
in the oasis
That's
by the
dope.
river. It was very cool.
That is super dope,
Yeah.
actually. So safe to say, like you would win the Amazing Race.
I'm actually have no athletic ability though, so like
No, the Amazing Race, screw that. If you ever notice,
okay.
they go to so many weird countries. Not weird, that sounds wrong. So many like random countries, I
Yeah.
should say. And people just aren't familiar with like that country or that language or that culture. And so that's their hardest trouble. If you ever notice, athleticism is not why people lose. They lose because they just are not good at traveling in other countries.
Okay, well then if it's all about traveling in other countries, yes, I would win.
That is literally, I think
Okay,
that's a
excellent.
skill.
Sign me up for the Amazing Race.
I know the producer.
Excellent.
I think that's a skill. I think traveling in other countries is a skill.
My favorite thing, like when I was in my 20s, was like landing in a city where I knew I had nothing, and then you just like
Yes.
figure it out.
That is so me. We have so much in common there. All right. Question number 3 is not fair because I gave you some free information earlier. I know. All right. So I was a certified interrogator. I was a certified source operator. I was a certified forklift driver.
You were not for. I think I got that one right.
I think you got that right.
Yes.
So before we went live, I messed up and told her that I used to be in military intelligence. And even my wife was like, you can't use that one because forklift driver is so different from the other two. I was going to use something different, but when I fucked up and told you, I was like, whatever. So it sounds like to me, before being a congresswoman, you had to have had a job that took you around the world, or?
Yeah, so I have a master's degree in international conflict resolution.
Man.
And I worked at the UN in peacekeeping operations and then at UNICEF in their innovation unit. Then I went to the State Department in the Bureau of Conflict and Stabilization Operations and then started this nonprofit that was a partnership between UNICEF and tech companies to map and connect schools around the world to the internet.
Damn. So how do you get into this?
Like how did I end up here?
Not so much here.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But how did you end up pursuing that as your master's and then with the State Department? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So I think there are two kinds of problems in the world.
okay.
I think they're the problems we know how to solve, but we just don't have the political will to solve them. And then the problems where actually we don't know how to solve them even when we want to. And when I was in college, I got super fascinated with international conflict as like one of those second kind of issues, right? The kind of problem we actually don't even know how to solve even when we want to do the right thing, right? There were
Interesting.
like all these protests of like, Save Darfur and all these things back then. And I was like, actually, we don't actually know how to fix these things. And so I got super obsessed with it, started studying it. One of my professors in grad school worked at the UN, and that's kind of how I got started.
Wow. So it kind of like slip and fail. Those are the best accidents. I like that. That is also something people don't typically think, let me go solve the world's problems. That sounds terrifying. The next one is my favorite one. This is the one I've been waiting all week to play with you.
Okay.
I think this is going to be the best conversation. That was just a warm up.
Okay. All
This
right.
is called sip or, that's a P, I swear to God, spill. All right.
Okay.
So rules are simple.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you a question,
Okay.
and you either spill the tea,
Mhm.
aka answer the question,
Okay.
or you drink. All right.
Okay.
Now, that's not to say you can't drink even if you answer the question.
Okay. I was going to say, there's another one where I feel like I'm being punished for doing the right thing. Okay. I understand.
So, sip or spill.
Okay.
with Sara Jacobs. Let's start off with something easy. This is going to be the easiest one, just to kind of warm it up.
Okay.
Your most embarrassing moment in life.
Can't tell you that.
Can you not? What is it related to? Is it related
Okay.
to college, high school?
Having traveled to all these countries, let's just say I have a very bad stomach.
Mm.
And as an adult, have had experiences where I have needed to use the restroom and couldn't find one.
Say less.
Yes, exactly.
We have highly relatable problems. So I was on a reality TV show one time on Discovery Channel.
Oh.
Yes, fun fact. And you spend a lot of time because we were there for 30 days. We were on a boat, by the way, in the middle of the ocean. So I'm with the same 9 people for 30 days.
Mm.
And even though they're filming the whole time, not everything makes the cut.
Yeah.
And thank God this next conversation didn't make a cut. But we were bored one night, 2 weeks in. We're sitting there just talking, and we're all 9 adults. The conversation comes up of each one of us telling stories about how we shit our pants one time. It's more common than we tend to.
Yeah.
All right.
We're destigmatizing gastrointestinal issues. That's what I
As one should.
That's what I say.
Bingo. Sip or spill. What's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, I watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy.
So you're basically a surgeon.
Yeah, I feel that way. Yeah. After like 22 seasons or whatever it's been, yeah, I feel well trained.
Why Grey's?
Because it's someone else's drama. Like it keeps my attention, but it has nothing to do with my life.
But it's not because it's medical stuff or you're interested in medical stuff?
No, but I do appreciate a medical drama mostly because, again, it's so different from my life. Like, I can't watch I'm a very annoying person to watch, like, Madam Secretary or any of those things with, because I'm like, nope, that's not how it happens. And people are like, please shut up.
We don't care.
Yeah. So I need something that's, like, very different from my life. Medical
Relatable.
dramas provide that.
Relatable.
Yeah.
That's why I don't watch war movies. People are like,
Yeah.
oh, you're a veteran. Did you watch this and enter their favorite war movie here? No, I didn't. Because it's annoying as shit.
Yeah.
All right. Sip or spill. Tell us about a time you lied about your age.
Well, I went to college in New York City, and I didn't turn 21 until junior year. I actually turned 21 when I was living in Ghana, and they didn't care, but
Right.
I made them like pretend. I like literally went and gave them ID, and I was like, pretend to check it, please.
Because the drinking age is probably not 21 there.
No.
Same thing as Korea. I was in Korea when I turned 21,
Yeah.
but you could drink at 19, so
Yeah.
nobody was
They
impressed.
didn't care.
Right.
But yeah.
So basically, you went to the clubs in New York with a fake ID.
I plead the fifth.
I'm sure we're past the statute of limitations at this point. All right, here's the fun one. I'm asking you this before I ask you, I want you to know something.
Okay.
This is a hotly debated topic on social media,
Okay.
and people take this issue to heart
Okay.
way more than I thought they would or
Okay.
should.
Okay.
And I once made the mistake of giving my opinion about this question.
Oh no. Okay.
And it's been a 2-year debate since. Sip or spill, do you believe in ghosts?
Oh.
So you wouldn't think it's that hotly debated, would you?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't.
No.
We've got to cancel her. Listen,
I
they will
believe in,
cancel
like-
you online for not believing in ghosts.
Really? Okay, I do. I believe it. I don't know. Listen, so actually yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of my grandmother's passing. And my niece is 3. She knew my grandmother. And we buried my grandmother in a red dress that she loved. And like out of the blue, yesterday morning, my niece goes in her closet and is like, I want to wear my red dress today.
That
Like
is
she has no
nuts.
idea about any of it. She's 3.
Holy.
So like I do believe in things like that. So if that's the question, then yes. I just don't know if I
Right.
believe in like Casper the Friendly.
Yeah, right. No, I think, and I'm kind of joking about being canceled, but I didn't realize how hotly debated the topic
Yeah.
was until I came up with my live stream last year. But I kind of believe, and maybe this is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I believe there's like a universal consciousness. Like, I don't think we just die and this thing that makes us life just goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that might influence the physical world to some degree. I don't know. I tell people I don't know that I believe in ghosts, but I know I believe in like a universal consciousness.
Okay, yeah.
Are you religious at all?
Jewish.
Okay, you are Jewish. Okay.
Yeah.
But I've found that there's there's people that are Jewish are also atheists.
Yeah. I would say I'm like more in the cultural Jewish.
Okay. That makes sense. That answers like 20 questions at one time. So I actually get it. I didn't know that either until social media taught me that,
Yeah.
I thought if you're Jewish, you're definitely, religious, and that's not
Yeah.
necessarily true. I learned that as well. Sip or spill, a bad habit you wish you could kick.
I scroll Instagram way too much.
Preach. Why do you want to kick that habit though?
Because I believe probably that the like dopamine hits are probably not good for your brain. And also, I would like to have all that time back that I spend meaninglessly scrolling on Instagram.
Right. My problem is twofold. I like to scroll because everybody likes to scroll.
Yeah.
But then I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. And so like social media is my job.
Yeah.
So I also have to scroll for 3 different reasons. I got to know what the hell's going on
Mm-hmm.
because you can't be an influencer and not know what's going on. Number 2, that's where we get our news from. Let's be honest. Like people don't.
So true.
Right. So I got to stay on top of the news. So not only do I have like notifications set up on my phone for like breaking news stories and shit, but I also stay on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody breaks the news before me, I could at least be second.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm always scrolling and staying on top of that. And then number 3, I have an entire that's where we were. This is a question I was dying to ask you.
Okay.
Okay. And if you need to sip instead of spilling, you sip.
Okay.
Sip or spill, have you ever been arrested?
Yes. In fact, I was arrested protesting for abortion rights a few years ago.
Oh, no better reason to be arrested.
Yeah. In fact, my mom texted me and was like, I got you through high school, I got you through college, no arrests, and then you become a member of Congress and you get arrested.
You got arrested as a member of Congress?
Yeah.
I feel like that would have been big news and I would have heard about it. So when did it happen?
I think it was 2022, right after the Dobbs decision.
I cannot believe I missed that.
Yeah.
So like what happened? Like what?
So like a bunch of us members of Congress went in front of the Supreme Court building to protest abortion rights. We were blocking the road and they arrested us.
Who got arrested with you?
Barbara Lee, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. There was a big group of us. Veronica Escobar was there, I think.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love Barbara Lee. Met her. I love AOC. Met her. And so they arrested you because you're blocking traffic.
Yeah.
Which still, I think they shouldn't have arrested you. We've blocked traffic 1,000 times. I got arrested. They did it because you're members of Congress and they're being assholes. Sorry, Capitol Police, but you're being assholes. So I hopefully they didn't like charge you with anything.
I mean,
a citation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured.
Not very fun fact about me is I was elected in 2020, which means that my 4th day in office was January 6th.
Oh my God.
And I was trapped in the House gallery, which is like the balcony that overlooks the House chamber. We had to like hide under the chairs, put the gas masks on. I was like literally hiding under the chairs and introducing myself to my new colleagues because it was my 4th day. I hadn't like met them yet.
Your 4th day in Congress.
Yeah.
You're hiding under the chairs in the House gallery because people are storming it.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. So this wasn't on my sheet to ask you, but now I must ask you. And I know this kind of like is a more serious question than what we've been asking. But that being said, how does it make you feel that those very same people got presidential pardons?
It makes me really angry. I mean, the hardest part for me is that I remember on that day there were Republicans in the chamber. And when we were like running in the hallway after we were able to get out, like the Republicans were running scared for their lives too. And now they're pretending like it didn't even happen or it was just like normal tourists. Like I really thought that could have been a moment to bring our country together.
Bingo.
And unfortunately it didn't.
Bingo. And I remember after you guys were back, when everything got sorted out.
Yeah.
We'll call it. You guys are back. The likes of Lindsey Graham and others were on the floor, decrying the whole situation.
Mhm.
This is not how America's run. And then fast forward 72 hours, and it was like, bloop, like the goldfish effect. And I remember this happened. Yeah, I agree with you. And watching the Republicans stay silent while he pardoned them, because you weren't the only one under your chair. Republicans were too.
Mhm.
And if it was just this innocent thing, why were they under the chair?
Right.
Oh my God. Fourth day in Congress. That's a hell of a welcome. Did you at that point wonder what the fuck have I got myself into?
Yeah, absolutely. And also thought to myself, wow, I used to work in post-coup transitions and post-conflict stabilization. Did not think my experience would be so relevant to my time in Congress. And yikes, is it scary that the most dangerous place
Seriously.
I've ever been, like the closest I've ever felt to losing my life, was as a member of Congress in the House chamber.
Man, that is nuts. So that's nuts. Cheers to that. Thank you for your service to this country.
And also, therapy is good. Everyone should go to it.
Agreed. And we talk a lot about that on my channel. Like therapy had this stigma, like, oh, you must have something wrong with you. Everybody needs therapy.
Yes.
Everybody. Okay. So last sipper spiel.
Okay.
A societal norm that you wish would change.
Oh God, so many. I'm like everything. The entire patriarchy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this. I like where you're going with this.
Let's see, a societal norm. Okay, this is where I have a real feelings on. Why is it just automatically assumed that kids are going to have their dad's name? Their mom is the one who had to like do all the hard work. Like that's kind of fucked up.
I fucking love where you're going with that.
Yeah, my kids are going to have my last name. Like my job is way harder. Like
I don't disagree. As a dad of 5, I'm not disagreeing with you. Because so let's keep this same theme here.
Yeah.
Something that's always pissed me off is asking for a woman's hand in marriage.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, wait, do you own her? Because I must have missed that.
My dad is under strict instructions that if anyone comes and asks him for his permission to propose to me, he's supposed to say no, because clearly you don't know my daughter. She does not need my permission.
That is exactly what I have 3 daughters, and I've told my wife, I hope to raise them that they won't be dating anybody that would do that. Because if you ask me for my daughter's hand in marriage, I'm going to ask you to sit here and go talk to my daughter and convince her to break up with you.
Yeah.
Because what the fuck? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with the whole last name thing. It's surprising. I went to Korea and I lived in Korea. The woman doesn't take the man's name when they get married. And I guess just me living in my American bubble, I never thought of the concept of not taking the man's name, because I'm also raised in the patriarchy. And it was a cultural shock for me. You don't take your husband's last name. Wait a minute. Women have independence, autonomy. And, that's one thing I like about traveling the world.
Yeah.
Is really challenging these societal norms that we get so used to seeing. And then you go to these other countries and they flip them on their head.
Totally.
What's the most culture shocking thing you've ever run across?
Most culture shocking thing I've ever run across. That's a good question.
Thank you. I pride myself in asking good questions.
I don't know if this was like the most culture shock, but like the way people raise kids in other countries, like we are so concerned about like everything here, but like, I go to these countries and the 3-year-old's watching the infant and they're playing in the dirt and like, it's fine.
Yep.
So yeah, that was like eye-opening for me.
This was the most culture shocking thing for me.
Yeah.
I was in Korea. I had begun dating who would become my first wife, and we had just moved in together. And it was about 3 a.m, and about 3 or 4 blocks down from our house, there's a 7-Eleven open 24/7. She goes, "Hey, I'm walking to 7-Eleven." I said, 3 a.m. down the alleyway. We lived in an alleyway. To 3 a.m. down the alleyway, I'll walk with you. She's like, "Why are you walking?" I'm like, "You can't walk down a fucking alley at 3 a.m. She's like, "Why the fuck not?" She couldn't even comprehend, because crime is negligent there, like almost zero. And that and other experiences made me realize, holy shit, I'm so accustomed
Right. Yeah.
to my own home being fucking dangerous
Right.
that it's a culture shock when in
Yeah.
other countries just not killing each other for not fucking.
Yeah. That's a great one. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, that was a great game.
Okay. Yeah. That was
So-
a good game.
I think we know more. I've learned a lot about you. I didn't know. And that was the fun part. I want to know more about you. And you have an extremely interesting life. And I appreciate it about you, because one thing that I've always wondered is how many of these fucking Congress people get elected and don't even have like these type of conversations where they understand the world. If you live in your little town in wherever the fuck USA and never leave that little town and then come to represent people, I think that's a problem.
Well, it's really interesting, actually. So I sit on the Armed Services and the Foreign Affairs Committee.
Okay.
So I spend a lot of time on these issues, and I represent San Diego, which is the biggest military community in the country.
Sure.
We have a big refugee community. We're a border town, a port town, right? So like where I come from, it's very international. But a lot of folks on both sides of the aisle, honestly, like they served in city council and then state government. And Congress is the first time they've ever even been asked to think about the world, really. And then we're asked to make these really important decisions
Correct.
about U.S. foreign policy. And so I do think like there's a lot more we need to be doing to make sure everyone understands like the world and the U.S. role in it and what we want the U.S. role to be. And
Yeah, not to say to get your seat in Congress, you have to travel because it's very privileged and ableist.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that once you're there needs to be some exposure
Yeah.
to that. So at this point, we're going to get a little bit more serious. Not that we haven't for the last 10 minutes, but and get you. I'm just going to ask you some interview questions.
Okay.
This is things that I think people would like to know about you. Just that we probably wouldn't know without asking.
Now that I know that you're a trained interrogator, I'm ready.
This entire thing has been an interrogation approach. You know. But we'll start simple. Like, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah.
Where's your childhood?
Born and raised in San Diego.
Okay.
I'm a third generation San Diegan.
Okay.
Went to Torrey Pines High School. Go Falcons.
Woo-hoo.
And yeah, lived there my whole life till I left for college. The second of 4 kids. We're a real millennial family. Because
Meaning what? What's that mean?
my middle sibling is gender nonconforming and my youngest sibling is trans.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're the oldest?
I'm the second.
Second oldest of 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. And what's one word you would use to describe your childhood?
Idyllic.
Wow. That is like what anybody would want to describe their childhood. So what made it idyllic?
Well, I grew up in San Diego, which
is already beautiful. Right.
Great place to grow up. And I feel very fortunate. Like my entire family was in San Diego. So both sets of grandparents, all my aunts, uncles, and cousins for the most part. I have one aunt and uncle who lived in Israel that I would see every other summer, and their kids would come stay with us every other summer. And then one aunt and uncle who lived in Canada. But otherwise, like my parents were each one of 4. Everyone was in San Diego. And
So you also get the big family thing.
big family thing going
cool.
on.
That's cool.
My family has been incredibly lucky. Like we got to live the American dream. My grandpa started a Fortune 500 company. And so we never really wanted for anything. And my family was like always made sure we understood how lucky we were. And then it was
That's
our
good.
responsibility to
Yeah.
like make sure other
A
people
lot
had
of people
opportunities.
with that background would typically fall on the right/conservative side of the line because that's what white privilege creates, is this bubble of, lack of understanding. So it's good that your parents didn't let you do that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What'd you want to be when you grew up? I mean, I'm sure. Was it a congresswoman? Or?
No, absolutely not. This was not in the plan.
Okay.
This wasn't even in the plan like a year before it happened. Like this was not the plan.
So what did you want to do?
Okay, so both my grandfathers were electrical engineers. My one grandfather started a Fortune 500 company, and my whole life they told me we need more women in engineering, which is true. We do need more women in engineering.
Right.
So I thought I was going to be an electrical engineer. That's what I thought I was going to
Okay,
be.
cool.
And then I'd go work at my grandpa's company, and then I would go
Run the company one day.
Yeah, and then my senior year of high school, when I was like applying to schools, I went and visited. And realized actually I did not want to be in a lab all day. Actually, my grandfather says that his biggest disappointment in me is still that I did not go to MIT. I did get in, but
Oh, congratulations.
thank you. I ended up studying political science and international relations and kind of went from there.
So you're a scientist.
Yeah, sure. Social scientist.
How would you describe high school you?
Oh,
Think about high school stereotypes.
Yeah.
Where did you fall?
okay. So my older brother was the captain of the baseball team and the captain of the football team.
Okay.
So I was Adam's little sister. Just really funny now because now he goes around San Diego and he's Sarah's big brother.
That is hilarious.
He did a speech about me and he said that it's his favorite thing. So
That
that's
is
very sweet.
hilarious.
Because I did not like being Adam's little sister to everybody.
Did that cause like tensions in your relationship with him?
Yeah.
It did?
Also, because like we're 3 years apart, so like we were in school
Right.
together, and like hypothetically, his girlfriends were in my grade.
Right.
So but yeah, I was like pretty popular, but like not in the popular clique. I was just
Yeah.
kind of like friends with everyone. But I will tell you, everything I needed to know about being good at Congress, I learned being a girl in high school because Congress is high school. So Congress.
Hot take.
Congress. I literally call it Congress High. So things like get done or don't get done because people like each other or don't like.
Mm.
You get here in your first week, you pick like your room offices by lottery, and then you're like friends with who's on your floor. You join clubs. We call them caucuses, but like you join caucuses or clubs. And then like on the house floor, there's no assigned seating, but like it's like
It's clicked up.
look, there is assigned seating.
So
There
when we
just
look
isn't,
at
you know?
right, when we look at C-SPAN and we're seeing people sitting, what you're
Yeah.
telling me is that was not by accident.
No, there's like it's like a lunchroom, right? You know, like everyone has their spot. There's like California Row, Pennsylvania Corner, the CBC has an area. It's like a thing. Yeah.
The tea.
Yeah.
This is what we came here
So
for.
everything
It took
I
us 45 minutes. This is what we came here for.
everything I needed to know about Congress, I learned being a girl on it.
This is good. So when next time I see people sitting next to me, I'm like, oh, I like that. This is good. Oh, you spilled the tea. I spilled the liquor. Okay. So did you play sports in high school? Did you play instruments? What clubs were you in?
Yeah. I did youth theater. But I'm not a theater kid. Okay.
But you're dramatic as well.
I am?
Well, I mean, I'm asking.
No, I don't think so.
I have a theater kid, and she's dramatic.
Yeah, my youngest sibling is a theater kid.
Oh,
like
really?
a Disney adult theater kid. He's now a ninth
Got
grade
it.
teacher who wears like Disney socks, and like Dylan is a theater kid. I do not self-identify as a theater kid.
Got it.
But I did do theater. I played tennis. And I did some cheerleading. And I was the president of the youth group at my synagogue.
Mm.
So
So you've been like political for a while now.
sure. Yes. I had to win a race.
Yeah,
I think I ran
exactly.
unopposed.
Exactly. It was a warm-up and you didn't even know it.
Yeah.
It's like that trend on TikTok where it's like, she didn't know that in 6 years after this video.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you answered this earlier, and I apologize. I forgot. Where'd you go to college?
Columbia.
Columbia. Okay. Oh, a hotbed of the news right now.
Yes.
What'd you major in?
Political science with a concentration in international relations.
Okay. And the year you graduated, class of
2011.
2011.
Yeah.
So post college,
Mm-hmm.
where'd you go?
I actually did a 5-year program. So I started grad school when I was in my senior year of
Okay.
college. So I went straight to grad school.
Straight to
Also
grad
at
school.
Columbia.
I was gonna say, okay, so also Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
And you said your master's was in conflict resolution?
Mm-hmm. International conflict resolution.
That's amazing. You go to grad school, and it's something came to the State Department after?
So from grad school, I went to the UN in the Department of Peacekeeping
Okay.
Operations. And then I got hired by the State Department, but security clearances take a long time. So while I was waiting,
Sure.
I went to work at UNICEF in their innovation unit doing like big data. And this was in like 2013 and like trying to figure out how we could use data for UNICEF's missions. So like we created a system that used it like cell phone tower data, like load data to predict like shocks that UNICEF would have to respond to. So we tested on landslides in Uganda, for instance.
Wow.
And like a lot of partnerships with corporations and stuff, figuring out how we could use what they're doing to actually help UNICEF's work. As part of that, I learned that a lot of what people think is going to be a good idea, actually, when used on the ground, is not a great idea.
So true. So
Yeah.
true. That's why I tell people on the internet. If you go to the internet, and I'm not bashing anyone on the internet, I'm on the internet, but if you go to comment sections and/or live streams, whatnot, there's a lot of people with a lot of solutions to a lot of the world's problems. But the reality is, when you implement these solutions, there's secondary and tertiary effects that you didn't see coming.
Which we are now seeing Elon Musk using that approach in our government, which is, I think we're seeing the real harms of that. So I'll give you one example if you want. So we were responding to the typhoon in the Philippines.
Okay.
And a tech company that shall remain unnamed was like, we want to help you reunite lost kids from their families, which is a big issue after emergencies because the longer a kid is away from their family, the more likelihood they get trafficked or any number of other bad things, right?
Right, obviously.
They're like, okay, we're going to create this public database where anyone can upload if they're looking for a kid and anyone can upload if they found a kid. Now, like, it sounds good in theory,
I
right?
can already see the problem, yeah.
Yeah, the human traffickers now have a list of every kid and exactly where they are.
Right. And that's the problem. Like, we make things public and the bad people will use that public information. That's such a good point. So keep that in mind when you're solving the world's problem on the internet. There's things you haven't thought about. When did you decide to run for Congress?
Yeah. So this was not the plan, as I said. Like, this is not what I thought I'd be doing with my life.
Sure.
Thought I was going to be a diplomat solving the world's conflicts.
Sure.
I was on the 2016 presidential campaign. I was on Secretary Clinton's foreign policy team and thought I'd go right back into government. And then obviously she Denon, as you might remember.
Oh, so painful.
Yes. And so right after that, I called my old team at UNICEF and I was like, everything's terrible. Can I come help kids again? I just want to help kids.
Mhm.
And they're like, well, we don't have like a job for you here, but we're starting this nonprofit with tech companies to map and connect schools around the world to the internet. And we are looking for a CEO. Do you want to start it?
Mm.
So that's what I did for a year. And actually, when I was in Mauritania on my flight back was the first Muslim ban. So I was like the only person from my flight that was allowed to get off
Holy
the
shit.
airplane.
So you flew over here from Mauritania,
Yeah.
and then everybody got sent back but you because they were Muslim?
More or less.
The
Yeah.
Muslim ban that Trump says didn't happen.
Yeah. And so in the terminal was like all these lawyers who were like filing injunctions and helping people.
Sure.
And I was like, well, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how to do that. So I brought them food. But I was like, well, I do know how to do policy. So I
Mhm.
started like on the side working with some policy people. And then my youngest sibling is trans. So like a lot of what was coming out of the White House was impacting
Sure.
him like pretty personally. And I just kind of realized like if I was going to stay true to this mission of like solving the problems that we don't know how to solve and the biggest issues impacting the most vulnerable people, like the work I was doing was important, but it was time to work on what was happening at home. So it also happened to coincide with right at the time when the nonprofit was ready to scale and we put it back into UNICEF. It's now like a flagship part of UNICEF's work. It's called Giga. And I moved back home to San Diego thinking that I would help someone else run for office. I was 28
Okay.
and basically was told that if I wanted there to be a young person or a woman, I had to run myself.
Damn.
Yeah.
You said fucking challenge accepted.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. So I'm going to ask Congresswoman one more question because I think this is an important question. And then after I ask her this question, we want to take at least one or two questions from the audience. She does have a schedule. She's kind of an important person. So we can't take a lot of questions, but we want to take one or two. So think of the question you want to ask. The only thing that I ask you is when you ask your question, please tell us what state you're asking. Are you Steve from Florida or North Carolina? That's all I'm asking. So how did it feel when you won your race? Obviously, running for Congress was probably nerve-wracking, I can imagine.
Yeah.
But then you win.
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
So I actually lost my first race.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I lost my first race. And well, running for Congress is nerve-wracking. I actually wrote down every mean thing I thought someone could say about me. All the things that are
Sure.
like, yeah.
The smear campaign.
Yeah.
Right.
And I made my friends read them to me over and over again to like try and desensitize myself.
That's smart.
Yeah, it didn't work because you can't predict what people are going to make up about you.
That
So
part.
like, despite being like all these things I'd done in my career, people were convinced because I was a young woman that I was unqualified, even though like
Got it. Sure.
But so then after I lost my first race, I was like, cool, I'm done. I did it. I started a nonprofit in San Diego working on childhood poverty issues in San Diego,
Cool.
basically taking like UNICEF's model to our domestic poverty issues.
Sure.
Started working at the University of San Diego School of Peace Studies, doing some of that. And then I got a call from my now predecessor that was like, which is the district, I grew up kind of on the border of two districts. And she
Okay.
was like, I'm announcing my retirement. You have 24 hours to decide if you're going to run to replace me.
That was kind of her.
Yeah. And so that's how I ended up here.
And once again, you said, fuck it, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
I like that about you. I like that about
And
you.
then my primary was March 3rd, 2020.
Holy shit.
So we won the primary and then immediately went into lockdown.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You have a lot of on the cusp moments in your life.
Yes.
For serious.
Yeah.
What would you say before we take a question from the
Yeah.
audience? There's a lot of people out here, possibly myself included, I don't know, that have considered running for Congress.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
Okay. I would say, first of all, you should do it. If you think you have something to add the conversation, like there is no line, there is no turn, like don't let anyone tell you are too young to make a difference because that's bullshit. Like in this moment we're in, we need as much creativity and as much ingenuity as we can find. So like we need your voice now more than ever. Now, as I say that, I also want to say that what you should try and do is figure out what problem you want to solve. Because actually Congress is not always the right place depending on what problem you want to solve.
Sure.
For instance, if criminal justice is your number one issue, 90% of people who are incarcerated at the state level. So maybe the state level is a better fit. Or if like you really care about zoning, like housing law zoning, that's really like city council is where you should be. Education policy is like school board, right? So like figure out what problem you want to solve. Learn everything you can about that problem from every angle. And like Maybe it's elected office. That's where you can have the most impact. Maybe it's nonprofit. Maybe it's the private sector. Maybe it's something else. Like there's so many ways you can make a difference on that problem. But if you fall more in love with the problem than any one solution, there's a lot of people in this place who are just happy to be members of Congress.
Sure.
You can be a very important title and get absolutely nothing done.
Yep.
And you can do a lot of really good things. You could do a lot of really good things with any title. And so focus on someone who wants to do things, not someone who wants to be things. And if you focus on doing something and staying focused on the problem you're trying to solve, you'll be successful no matter what it is. Maybe it's Congress, that's where you can have the most impact, and maybe it isn't. And those are all valid and important things to be doing. We have lots of rules that we need people to play.
Congresswoman, we'll take a couple questions from the audience.
All right.
Lizzie from Virginia. What are ways to get started with advocacy work that doesn't require joining a nonprofit?
So actually, I love this question, Lizzie, because this is something I think everyone's thinking about. So the question is how to get involved in advocacy right now, especially like if you don't want to join a nonprofit. The thing we know, so I know everyone's feeling like scared, alarmed, frustrated, all of it, and trying to figure out what to do. So in my experience working in other countries, actually we know in countries that have experienced democratic backsliding, if you are able to put together a broad-based pro-democracy movement, you have a pretty good chance of actually getting a better democracy on the other side.
So say that last part one more time.
Yeah. So you have a 58% chance of getting a better democracy on the other side of a democratic backsliding incident, which means there's actually a lot we need to be doing right now. And the number one thing we can be doing is building community, having the tough conversations with people we know, because we know there's a lot of propaganda and mis and disinformation. The number one way to get through that mis and disinformation is with trusted messengers. So talk to the people in your life, even the people who you might not agree with, even the people who might have voted for Republicans or Donald Trump, because often they're probably going to be hurt by the policies that are being put in place right now.
Sure.
And the more we can humanize these issues and tell these stories, the more that we can actually get people to change their minds. Because, I think a lot about what's effective, right?
Yeah, right.
Like I'll give you an example. My youngest sibling is trans. Yesterday, we had a hearing where Marjorie Taylor Greene said a bunch of really terrible transphobic things.
Sure.
And okay, in that moment, I actually did the thing I'm about to tell you is not the most effective, which is I yelled at her. But what I want to do is yell at people and be like, you're so transphobic and racist and all that shit. Yeah. But what we know is that if you do that, you actually just have people harden their position.
Yeah, right. Correct.
Because all they're doing is thinking about how they're going to defend themselves to you.
Yeah.
The way you actually get people to change behavior and change their mind is by humanizing things. By bringing my trans little brother for them to meet, by talking about how these policies are impacting us as humans. So the more you as a trusted messenger can be talking to the people in your life about the real human impacts of what's happening, that is super, super important. And the other thing I will say, I'm sorry, I'm talking too long to answer
I love the answer.
So,
I'm in.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm a nerd, so this is what you get. I've had a couple of glasses of bourbon. Okay, I was just reading this really interesting book where basically organizing and protest movements have changed a lot.
Yes.
Because back in the day, if you were able to put together a big march on Washington or something like that, it meant that you had done all of this incredible organizing to be able to get people in the same place at the same time.
Because social media didn't exist.
Exactly. Right. And so that was the culmination.
Yeah.
Now, it's pretty easy to get people in the same place at the same time.
Preach. Yes.
I mean, Jolly just posts something and here we are.
Right.
And so it's almost like protest movements are backwards now, where you have the big action and then you have to do the deep organizing work. And we've almost lost the muscle of the deep organizing work because it's so easy to get people activated, but not to get them to stay. And so we need to rebuild that muscle of deep community organizing, how we build community, how we humanize things, how we talk to each other. That's what we need to be doing right now.
Damn, what's the name of this book?
It's called Twitter and Tear Gas by Zeynep Tusechi. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Twitter and Tear Gas. I'm going to read it. Because that's such a good point.
Yeah.
I've been thinking lately, we got all these people to come to D.C., then nothing happens. You're right, because then what? You know what I mean? And
wait, it's just flipped from what it used to be.
That's such a good point. Man, okay, I don't get carried away on that. That's a good point. Next question.
Mary from Indiana asks, who do you find to be the most inspiring woman in politics?
Mary from Indiana asks, who do you find to be the most inspiring woman in politics?
That's a good question. I was really fortunate that my first term in Congress was when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House. And whatever you think of her policies, like the way she knew how to use this institution to actually get shit done. Like I think people maybe took it for granted, but we are now seeing Republicans having the exact same majority and not being able to do anything, thankfully. But like she is a master of getting things done and of understanding how to use power to serve people. And like when she meets Congress, like anytime you come to Congress, the first thing she'll ask you is like, what's your why? Why are you here? Like, remember your why. And like my favorite thing that she says, she has a lot of like good sayings.
Okay.
Like, resting is rusting is one. That woman does not rest. But my favorite is she's like, sometimes you have to throw a punch for the children.
For the children.
Yeah.
There you have it. Write that shit down. Congresswoman, I cannot thank you enough for being our inaugural episode.
Yes.
I hope that you guys online have enjoyed getting to know Congresswoman Sara Jacobs on a more personal level. And we got some tea on how Congress works. I hope that in future episodes we can get you back and maybe do some follow-up. Make sure that you go follow Sara Jacobs on all platforms. She's constantly, I follow her, so I know what she posts. She posts what she's doing. You just introduced last month a bill to delete Doge.
That's right.
So she's doing things you might not know about. Go follow her. And then next week, I'm going to go ahead and announce it today. Next week, our guest is Representative Greg Landsman. And we will be doing the same thing. Under the Influence. Join us there. Thank you, guys. That was good.
Okay.
All right. Cheers. Thank you. That was good. I loved it. It was amazing. Oh, wait a minute. No, hang on. This is for the Congresswoman from the Under the Influence staff. Go ahead, please open that.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much.
I'm sorry.
My barrier glass?
But we did personalize it.
Oh.
So I hope you liked it.
Oh my God, I love it.
So it's an Under the Influence glass, and it says Representative Sara Jacobs on it.
You can see it, but it's awesome.
I know.
Thank you.
When I saw the on the other side, I was like, damn it. But I think
I
we put
like
bourbon
it.
in it.
Yeah, it'll look good.
It'll look good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much.